My name is Sean Logan, and I used to think I was going to be a dad. Not just any dad, but a great one. For years married to Lana. We've been trying for a baby for almost 2. She cried when the test turned positive. I laughed, cried too. We held each other in the kitchen like we were the last 2 people on Earth. I called my brothers. I told my mom. We threw a gender reveal party in our backyard. Confetti cannons, pink smoke, cake. A girl. I painted the nursery myself. White and lavender, with stars across the ceiling. Every night, I'd talk to her belly, sing silly songs, tell her how excited I was to meet her. I believed in us, in the family we were becoming. But that's the thing about belief. It doesn't stop the truth. She gave birth in February. 10 fingers, 10 toes, a healthy cry. But when they handed her to me, I saw it. A birthmark, small, brown, teardrop-shaped, right behind her left ear. It didn't mean anything until it did. Brandon, Lana's ex, he had the exact same mark. I'd seen it once when we bumped into him at a wedding 2 years ago. I remember because I joked about it, called it a tattoo God forgot to ink. He laughed. Lana didn't. At the time, I thought nothing of it. But now I couldn't unsee it. Still, I said nothing. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe it was just a mark. But then, I came home early from work one night. The lights were on. Lana was in the living room, back to me, her face lit by the glow of her iPad. I saw her jump, like a kid caught with her hand in a cookie jar. She swiped up fast, deleted something, didn't know I'd seen, didn't know I stood there long enough to watch the screen flash. Photos app closing, then her email. Later that night, while she slept, I looked, not on the iPad, on her old laptop she hadn't used in months, still synced to her email. The deleted photos were gone, but the backup texts, still there. I read every word. Messages from Brandon, dozens, and one that changed everything. Does he know it's not his? I didn't sleep that night. I didn't confront her. I just stared at her, sleeping next to me, peaceful, like she hadn't just burned our whole life down. And I realized something chilling. If she could lie about this, what else had she lied about? I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I wasn't going to scream. Wasn't going to fall apart. I was going to find the truth. Piece by piece. Quietly. Surgically. Because this wasn't just betrayal. This was war. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Every morning, I played the part. Diaper changes, bottle feeds. I rocked a baby I now doubted was mine, and kissed a woman I knew was lying. She'd smile at me in the kitchen. I'd smile back. She'd say, "You're such a great dad already." And I'd choke on the taste of betrayal. But beneath the routine, I was planning. I ordered a DNA test, not the kind from some sketchy website. This was professional, discreet courier, lab certified. Cheek swab while she napped. Sent off in a package she'd never even noticed missing. The waiting nearly killed me. I still fed the baby, still kissed her forehead, but inside, I was watching, recording, calculating. Then Lana started acting strange. Possessive. She wouldn't let me hold the baby as long. Would grab her the second she cried. She started snapping at me. "You're not even trying to bond with her. You're always distracted. You act like you don't love her." I wanted to scream, "She's not mine." But I didn't. Not yet. Then the results came. 0% probability. Not even a maybe. Not a possible paternal relative. Just a clean, surgical. "You're not the father." I didn't cry. I couldn't. Didn't even blink. I just went cold. Numb. So it was really true. Lana cheated on me, and cheating had never even crossed my mind even once. She was my world. I printed one copy, folded it neatly, hid the original inside a legal file in the back of my home office. Then I made another move. I hired a private investigator, told him, I need everything. Where she goes, who she sees. Start from her third trimester and go backward and go forward. It didn't take long. 2 weeks later, I had photos, receipts, text logs. Brandon had never left the picture. She'd been seeing him while we were trying for a baby. While I was painting a nursery, she was sneaking out to hotel rooms. But what cut deeper than anything, she knew the baby wasn't mine before she ever gave birth. And still, she let me name her, let me claim her, let me stand in that hospital room, crying like a fool. That was when the mission changed. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about justice. I started digging through everything. Her health insurance claims, her emails, OBGYN appointment logs. Found one from the doctor dated 3 weeks before the due date. A flagged paternity concern. A conversation she never told me about. And I realized something chilling. This wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud. Marriage comes with rights. But it also comes with accountability. And if she thought I was just going to walk away, quietly, she didn't know who she married. I wasn't going to scream. Wasn't going to beg. I was going to expose her. Legally, financially, socially, the world would know the truth. And Lana? She'd watch everything she built with lies crumble. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I didn't yell. I didn't even hint that I knew. Instead, I got organized. Quietly. Step 1. I open a new bank account. Step 2. I move half of our savings. Not illegally. Not sneakily. Just fairly. My half. My name. Step 3. I filed for divorce. Without telling her. While she was planning a christening, I was filing a petition for paternity fraud. I handed everything to my attorney. The DNA results, the investigator's report, the medical emails, and then something worse. An email thread from her to a friend. Casual, careless, evil. I'm putting Sean's name on the birth certificate. That way the money keeps coming no matter what. She typed it like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. My lawyer leaned back in his chair, told me words I didn't expect. You have a case for emotional distress, financial damages, possibly even criminal fraud if we could show intent. I nodded, didn't even smile. Just said good. Push it. Meanwhile, Lana was clueless. She floated through the house with baby clothes and party favors, talking about baptism dresses and godparents. Every time she said, our daughter, my hands clenched tighter. And still, I waited. I didn't want to argue. I wanted her to feel it in public, where a mask couldn't save her. So I picked a Sunday. Brunch with her family like everything was normal. Let's celebrate, she said. She wore white. She held the baby in her arms like a trophy. Her mother passed around baby pictures. Her father clinked a glass and said how proud he was of the family we'd built. Then the server walked up, carrying an envelope. Lana Logan? She raised her hand. He passed her the papers. I already knew what it was, after all. I arranged it. Lana reached for them, still smiling. Without thinking, she read the top line. Divorce petition. Paternity fraud claim. Her face shattered. She stood up so fast, she nearly knocked the baby from her lap. Sean, what is this? I didn't answer. She screamed louder. Her mother gasped. Her sister stood up and slapped her. Hard. The whole restaurant stared. People whispering. Phones filming. I didn't flinch. Didn't speak. I just stood, buttoned my jacket, and walked away. No yelling. No speech. Just silence. And the sound of her web unraveling behind me. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. She thought the courtroom would save her. She came in crying, holding the baby, painting herself as the victim. "My husband abandoned us," she told the judge. "He walked out on his daughter." She said it with trembling lips. Tears. Theatrics. But I came prepared. I didn't argue. I handed over evidence. First, the DNA test. Then, the investigator's footage. Then, emails in her own words. Put Sean's name on the birth certificate to keep the money coming. Then we called her OBGYN to testify. She had flagged the pregnancy as paternity uncertain. Said Lana knew. Said she was advised to disclose the truth. She never did. The courtroom went silent. Even her lawyer looked like he wanted to disappear. The judge took a long pause. Then he looked straight at Lana. His voice was calm, like someone delivering a verdict with a scalpel. "You knowingly committed paternity fraud." He turned to me. "You owe no child support. You are to be removed from the birth certificate immediately, and you are entitled to equal division of joint marital assets." Lana tried to speak. The judge cut her off. "Ms. Logan, Brandon Thomas is being summoned for a paternity test. If he refuses, you will be held in contempt." She broke then, dropped her act, started shouting. "He doesn't want anything to do with this. He doesn't want to be a father." The judge just stared. "Then perhaps you should have thought of that before using someone else as a paycheck." He warned her, if she continued the deception, there would be fraud charges, financial penalties. And it didn't stop in the courtroom. Word spread. Her friends turned on her. One by one, they stopped responding. Her job opened an ethics inquiry. Turns out the company had strict values about honesty and trust, and HR had already received an anonymous tip. Not from me, from Truth. Meanwhile, I moved out, quietly. No fights, no drama. I took what was mine, left the crib I built, the walls I painted, didn't even leave a note. Didn't need to. She was surrounded by rubble, and none of it had my fingerprints on it. The Truth had done all the damage for me. It's been 9 months since the courtroom. Lana filed for bankruptcy. Turns out pretending to be a victim doesn't pay the bills when no one's buying the act. Brandon? Gone. Disappeared like a ghost with no forwarding address. He never showed for the paternity test. Never took responsibility. He vanished from Lana's life, just like she once tried to vanish the truth from mine. She tried to fight the fraud penalties. Claimed she was misunderstood, but there were receipts, emails, witnesses, me. The court wasn't interested in her tears anymore. Neither was the world. Her job quietly let her go. Ethics inquiry closed with a single sentence. Misrepresentation of family circumstances led to breach of internal trust policies. No lawsuit, no big scandal, just silence, and a door that would never open to her again. As for me, I started over. New city, new job, new peace. It wasn't easy. The nights were the worst. Not because I missed her, not because I missed the baby, but because I missed the version of myself who believed love couldn't lie. Therapy helped. I sat in a chair across from someone who didn't know Lana, didn't care about Brandon, and didn't treat me like a headline. They just listened, and somewhere between the 7th and 10th session, I started to feel again. Not anger, not vengeance, just clarity. I realized I'd spent 2 years of my life singing to a lie, painting hope onto a nursery wall like it was a cure. But the truth? It doesn't need decoration. It just needs daylight. I got promoted at work, started running again. I even went on a few dates. No one serious, just reminders that my heart still beat for something beyond betrayal. Then, last Tuesday, a package arrived. No return address. Brown paper, taped neatly. Inside, a tiny hospital bracelet. Pink, faded, with the baby's name scribbled in blue ink. And a note. One line, in her handwriting. "I'm sorry. I just wanted you to stay." I sat there for a long time. Not angry, not moved, just still. Because that was it, wasn't it? That was always it. She didn't want a baby. Not really. She wanted leverage. Insurance. A lock on the door of a life she knew she didn't deserve. And for a while it worked. For a while I stayed. But there was one thing she never understood. One thing she never asked herself. Why I stayed. It wasn't out of guilt or weakness. It was out of belief and love. For family. For truth. In the idea that if you gave your all to someone, they wouldn't turn that gift into a weapon. She mistook that belief for blindness. And that was her final mistake. I folded the note, placed it back in a box, didn't shred it, didn't burn it, just put it away on a high shelf where it would never again reach eye level. People ask me now if I'd ever speak to her again, if I'd ever want closure, forgiveness, maybe even peace. And here's what I say. Closure isn't something you get from someone else. It's something you give yourself. One step, one truth, 1 mile away from the life that tried to bury you. She used a baby to trap me. She thought I'd stay out of guilt. She thought softness could become a cage. But she forgot one thing. I don't stay in cages, no matter how soft the bars. Here's some questions for you, our viewers. If you discovered someone you loved had lied about something so profound, how would you react? Do you believe Sean's methodical approach to revenge was justified? Why or why not? What's the most important lesson about trust and closure you took from this story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell because we have more stories planned just for you.